Hi everyone, this is Tisch Aitken, and I'm here to talk about the week ahead. We're just about to enter Scorpio season. The sun is at the last few degrees of Libra, although I think for most people, they're feeling the Scorpio energy very intensely already. Now, to enumerate some of the aspects that are going on, we have Mercury and Venus transiting in Scorpio at the moment. And Mercury is how we learn, how we process information, how we communicate, how we express ourselves, how we transport things. And Mercury entered its shadow in Scorpio on October 12th when it entered 11 degrees of Scorpio. And it's going to retrograde on October 31st at 27 degrees of Scorpio. So it's going to be reaching the late degrees, but it's going to station direct again on November 20th at 11 degrees. So some of the stuff we've been dealing with since, early mid-October, let's say around the 12th of October, we're going to be dealing with that story for quite a while because Mercury will not exit Scorpio until December 9th. So, if you're having some computer issues or other things going on, or dealing with people from the past, or dealing with just having trouble getting things going, which has been my weekend on some level, I think that is part of the shadow. But shadow work during Scorpio time, well, how fitting, because Scorpio gets to those dark corners and gets to the bottom of things. And we have the sun is entering Scorpio on Wednesday on October 23rd, and it's going to be in Scorpio until November 22nd. So then we'll have the sun in Scorpio, Mercury is going to be retrograding in Scorpio, and Venus will be in Scorpio until November 1st, until All Saints Day. So, there's a heavy scorpionic energy, and Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, and Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. And as has been discussed several times, and will be discussed several more, Pluto and Saturn are going to be conjunct in Capricorn on January 12th. So we're dealing with this huge conjunction, which has not happened officially since November 9th of 1982, when they joined up at 27 degrees of Libra, which happens to be where the sun is today. It's at 27 Libra. So this is something that obviously does not happen very often. And they also met up within a degree in around June of 1983. So this is a restructuring energy in Capricorn, very much dealing with karma and accountability and how you take action, what you are up leveling in your life, what you are not dealing with in your life. It's going to come for you. So I think that with this Scorpio energy, Scorpio is, well, Venus is in Scorpio, so it's already dealing with heavy stuff. It's detriment there, and Mercury in Scorpio is very intense. It's very probing and very can be a bit morose at times. It's kind of definitely can be a bit on it's not necessarily the life of the party, but it is very, very perceptive. It's the words that aren't spoken are often as telling as the words that are when Mercury is in Scorpio, and having this sixth sense about people and situations. So I think that energy is very prominent. And also because Pluto rules Scorpio, and because Mercury is retrograding here really in Scorpio, until the middle end of November, and will be in Scorpio until the beginning of December, it's prepping all of us for dealing with that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is going to be on January 12th, and it's going to be 2 days after a solar eclipse in Capricorn. And I believe Mercury is going to be in Capricorn then too. It's going to be translating all of that story. So wow, that's going to be really intense, and right now is very intense. So with that said, tomorrow we have Venus in Scorpio. Well, right now, actually, we have Venus is in harmony with Saturn. So it's speaking back to earlier in the week when Mercury was in Scorpio in tandem with Saturn, working well. So, some things that we're all dealing with and coming up with the answers. And tomorrow, Venus is going to trine Neptune in Pisces, and those are both beautiful. That's a beautiful energy. It's very creative. It's very sensitive. It's very, very empathetic, but it can be Also, again, where you're feeling very sensitive about your values or how you are valued or relationships. But again, it is a very beautiful romantic energy. And Mars is in Libra. It's going to square the nodes of fate tomorrow. So that's a big deal, because we've been talking a lot about the nodes of fate as well, because since the spring, the South Node had been working very closely with Saturn really for about 5 months. And in April, it was conjunct, within a few degrees, Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node were conjunct. And that's around when we had, when Notre Dame had its fire, which was on, I believe, April 15th. And so at that time, we got a terrible way of seeing it, but metaphorically, we saw a collapse of old structures and institutions. And that is going to be what's happening in many ways in our lives when Saturn and Pluto meet up in Capricorn, because Capricorn does deal with old traditions, with beliefs, with structures, and with authority, with agencies of authority, whatever that might be on the world stage, but in our own lives. So it'll definitely be collapsing of structures and transforming and building new structures. But what you want to get clear on right now with Mercury retrograde is coming up, but with, the Scorpio energy, and certainly with Mercury already giving us answers. What do you need to work with? What do you need to empower yourself in? Like, what are you not dealing with in your life, and what do you need to purge? Scorpio, Pluto is the great compost of the zodiac. What do you need to eliminate in your life to obtain these goals? Because Capricorn is a very goal-oriented sign, and it's very much about focusing on those goals. So with Mars squaring the nodes of fate, the beginning of this week, that can be intense decisions, karmic decisions. It can be, Mars is a traditional malefic. It can be dealing with anger or malice, perhaps, or being very impulsive. So you don't want to act impulsively, especially now that Mercury is in its shadow. You really want to think. It's easy to say, but you really want to try to temper that as much as you can. And then on Wednesday, the Sun enters Scorpio. So now we've got more of this Mars-Pluto energy in effect, because Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. And on Friday, Venus in Scorpio is going to work in harmony with Pluto. So that's a nice energy. Pluto rules Scorpio, so Venus being in, transiting in Scorpio right now, again, that can be a heavy energy, but it is, very transformative around money and relationships and what you value. And then we're approaching a new moon on Sunday. Now, a new moon is a great time to initiate something new and to begin new projects, but it's going to be a heavy new moon. It's going to occur at 4 degrees of Scorpio, and Mars is going to square Saturn. And traditionally, those are the two malefics of the zodiac. Mars is anger and can be violence and rage, and Pluto is power, but it can be of a dominating nature. It can be really, brutal. So when you have, Mars is squaring Saturn. Mars will be squaring Pluto, but that's not until November 5th. But Mars is squaring Saturn. Saturn will restrict the energy, and so Mars wants to express its very vital energy. It wants to express its anger or its passion or its whatever it's feeling. And Saturn holding that back, well, that's very, very frustrating energy, and can feel difficult, and can definitely enrage people even if they can't express it. It can make people really pissed off. So I think knowing that on this new moon, very heavy energy, we still have Venus and Mercury in Scorpio. At that time, we've got Mars squaring Saturn, which again is feeling held back. And it is a new moon. It is a time to definitely commence something new. But I think trying to figure out how you're dealing with your issues around pain and anger, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, but by also the two malefics. And so it can, not only does it deal with the unhealed wounds, it is, where are you feeling angry about, feeling unaligned with your power, and how can you align with your power in kindness and compassion? And I think that's a big theme the rest of this year. That's going to be a predominant theme, because you do want to do this with ethics, because you know, any alignment in Capricorn really is about doing what's your best for your best good. What is karmically, you know, how are you treating other people? How are you treating yourself? You know, Scorpio can be a very destructive energy, self-destructive, but really preparing for what you want to accomplish in 2020, because we are getting there now and it is coming up. So I will be back later in the week to talk more about the new moon and the aspects it's making and such, but I wish you a lot of luck, and looks like my computer problem is solved, so that's good. All right, so I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.